Thank you, Lily. That was beautiful. In case you don't know, Lily Popova is our music director, and we're so blessed and lucky to have her pretty much every week to give us this beautiful, beautiful music. My name is Debbie Skirdo, and I welcome you. Oh, yes. I either get it on or forget to put it on and forget to take it off. Now I have to get back in the habit. We are suggesting masks be worn again because we've had several cases of COVID and flu. So sometimes some of the folks are saying that the flu's worse than the COVID, but you want just to protect you, and that's just it's a suggestion. We do have masks at the greeter's desk if you don't have one and would like to wear one. Also, really good news, this week the roof repair is going to start. Yay. Yeah. So just after the rain, and as soon as it dries up enough for them to be up there and to start working on it, the board has already signed the contract, and Warren, yes, I can't think of his, Northwood, thank you. Warren Northwood is the company is Northwood Roofing, and he has a lot of experience with our type of flat roof, and so that was very reassuring to have him be somebody that can come and really knows what's going on. So that's going to be good, and he said it will take at least a week off and on, but it won't disturb anything inside. And also welcome to the visitors today and to people returning. I see some familiar faces that have not been here in a little while, so it's great to see people coming back. And also today we are going to have the third of our focus groups for restructuring plan. It will be here in the sanctuary right after service, and this one will be concerning justice and outreach. So if you're interested at all, please come and join us, give us some input, ask questions, whatever. And the last focus group will be next week, and that will be our community, so basically what's happening in the congregation. Also, I want to remind you, I don't think that's really a word, but we do still need some help in hospitality, which doesn't involve a whole lot except coming a little bit early, helping put things on trays, put them out, also clean up afterwards. That's just so helpful, and our folks that are doing it now have been doing it a really long time. So they could use a break and use some extra help. So if you're interested, you can see me, you can see Terry or Shirley that are sitting in the back, and they'll be happy to let you know when that could happen. Also, I was going to say, if you would please silence your electronic devices, that will help us for the rest of the service. And also, let's see, the 27th, which is next Saturday, the coming Saturday, we're having an opportunity for you to come and bring some seeds or plants and take home some seeds or plants. So it's called a seed exchange. It'll be out here in the front, and we know that it's going to be beautiful weather, so we're just planning that to be true. And it'll be from 9 to 1. So it's kind of a stop-in kind of a thing. And there's no fee or anything. Just come and enjoy and participate. We also next week have the mid-year budget review, which is very important. It will be short. Carissa will take us through how we're doing financially, and that will be at right about 11:45, and then right after that will be the focus group, so you can do both. Let's see, and also really important, on February 4th, which seems like a long way away, but it's really soon, 2 weeks, we are going to have an informational meeting for people that are thinking about maybe becoming a member or just curious, want to know what does it mean to be a member here at MVUUC. You're welcome to come. It's after the service. We will have some snacks and childcare will be provided. We really hope you will come and ask your questions and get some information. And depending on, we do need RSVPs so we know which room to get ready. It'll either be in here or it might be in the founders room. We don't know yet. So if you're thinking of coming, please just give Brenda a call or go to the website and go online with Office Admin and give her an email message that you would like to come to the new member informational meeting. It'll be about an hour, so it's not like all day. Also, we have a lot of announcements today. We do want to honor some people that really helped us out last week. We're calling them our audio system heroes. Yes, and they are George Yenoki, Steve, he's not here, Steve Shirley, and Bob Taylor, and Jaryus, who's our audio technician. And they saved us because we started off with no sound. And they were able to get the sound for us for the service and for Zoom. So that was awesome. And also, we're continuing the blanket drive. Just bring your blankets or warm jackets and things for the 111 Hope Foundation. We're still collecting those, and they're in the hall by the coffee window on the opposite side. And that is also who is sharing the plate with us. So the offerings that are not designated as pledges, we are sharing 50% with that foundation, which really does a lot of good in our local community. We also have on the third Wednesday of the month, we have the Young Adults group, and they will be meeting at 7 p.m. Yeah, they meet here on Sunday, don't they? On Sunday. Oh, I thought it said that. Okay, thank you. I stand corrected. Young Adults meet here on the fourth Sunday after church, just to get together and see how things are going for them. And Robert Tidwell is kind of liaisoning that for them. Okay. Also, that was next Sunday. Yeah, that's also, next Sunday is really busy, so it'll be kind of fun, real fun. Also, February 11th, we have Val Pals, which is a fun event, which we work with the kids in RE, and we kind of adopt somebody for the day and bring some little goodies and sit with them and have some snacks. It's really fun. And the 18th, we're going to have Kusala back, that he was ill the first Sunday of January, so he's coming back on February 18th, and that's always a wonderful service. And let's see, did I forget anything? Poetry potluck is next week, also for the service, and it's not food. It's poetry, and it's just whoever wants to share poems and bring readings and things like that is what we do. And Catherine Rowley's in charge of that. You can see her. She'll probably be here later on today. And I want to make sure I said everything. Okay, I think I did. So I would like to introduce our minister, Maggie Yenoki, and we will continue with our service. It's great to see you all.
Good morning, everyone. It is great to be together. I also want to embarrass and welcome Phoebe back from New Zealand. She went home for Christmas and now she's back. Yay, Phoebe. Sorry, I didn't get your permission to do that. Hope that was okay. But when we open our service, we ring the singing bowl 3 times, honoring yesterday, celebrating today, and awaiting tomorrow. For the trees that stood tall in all those ancient yesterdays, the mythical trees of the garden that taught us the lessons of both fruitfulness and failures, the trees that speak of the value of truth and meaning, and for those trees that were planted by our ancestors that nourished them and are still rooted in our shared lives to this day. We ring it for the trees that companion us today, the tallest and the smallest of trees that teach us of rootedness and reaching, the trees that feed the hungry with nuts and citrus, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, and pomegranates. For the shade, the oxygen, and the habitats that you hold, keeping our animal relatives safe at home. And for the trees that we and our children will plant, For blessed is the one who plants trees they may never sit under. And now for the lighting of our chalice. This is a symbol of our UU faith. The chalice is lit whenever we gather. I'd like to invite Carissa and Donovan up for our chalice lighting. Oh, okay. Our chalice lighting words come from Tara Humphreys. It's titled, "This Chalice is Lit for You." Whether you are from the south, the east, the north, or the west, whether you were born into this faith, found it, or it found you, whether you feel at home or are still trying to find your place, whether you believe in God, are open to the mystery, or still have no idea, whether you are unemployed or underemployed, cobbling things together, overworking, or in school, whether you are holding anxiety, grief, confusion, anger, hope, restlessness, deep peace, or all of that, Unitarian Universalism has a place for you, and it's right here. And this chalice is lit for you. I invite you to stand and let's sing our invocation this morning, our anthem, number 123, Spirit of Life. First in English, then in Spanish. Let's recite in unison our congregational covenant. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. And before you sit, I don't know who set this up, sorry folks. But let's sing our congregational song, Rising Green. It's number 1068, that's in our teal hymnal. I know we've sung it before on special occasions, so I hope it's familiar to you. So let's sing out as you're able. Beautiful. Please be seated. Everyone but Robert. We will now have our wisdom tale, our time for all ages, as told by our DLRE, which stands for Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. That's quite a title. But it is called Sustaining the Tree of Life.
Yeah, and it's by Reverend Lynn Gardner. The tree stood in the middle of the village. Its trunk was so large that it took 6 people holding hands to reach around it. The roots were strong and wide, and its branches spread out over the village square, offering shelter from the rain or shade from the summer sun. Its fruit was juicy and sweet and plentiful. The people of the village loved the tree. Children played beneath it and climbed its lowest branches. Young people knew that if you whispered your dreams to the tree, they were more likely to come true. People who proclaimed their love or friendship for one another beneath its branches found their relationships to be nourishing, and elders discovered that their sweetest memories could be counted on when they were near the great tree. The tree had been witness to so much, and when the breezes blew through its leaves, one could hear echoes of generations, laughter, conversations, dreams, prayers, and songs. Animals loved the tree too. Rabbits lived in burrows under the roots, squirrels and monkeys lived in the branches, and bats and birds flew in to eat the abundant fruit. The tree seemed to buzz with life. One day, a traveling merchant arrived in the village. He rested in the shade and ate 2 pieces of delicious fruit. "This fruit is incredible," he said. "I would like to have some to sell in the next village that I visit. Who owns this tree?" No one owns the tree," replied a villager. "If anything, we belong to it." "Well then, if no one owns the tree, then no one will mind if I pick the fruit," said the merchant, and he began to fill a basket. "I mind," said the villager, "and today I am the keeper of the tree." "What do you mean, the keeper of the tree?" "We each take our turn being here with the tree. We could never own it. We are here as protectors and as sustainers." "That's ridiculous. This tree doesn't need you. You could just take what you need, take what you want, and the tree will continue." But the villager couldn't be persuaded. "Sir, this tree isn't like that. We don't come here to take from it, even though we receive much. We are keepers of the tree because this is where we are nourished. This is where some of our most precious memories are and where our people have dreamed. This is where we remember who we want to become." "Well," said the merchant, "you may think this tree is very special, but it still doesn't need you to sit with it. That's preposterous." "Ah," replied the villager, "the tree itself may not need me, but what of the others who come by? Just this morning I sat with a woman whose heart was heavy with worry. Had I not been here, she would have had to carry that weight alone. And this afternoon a tired couple came by, and they rested with me, and they said that they had been looking for a place like this. And then an elder came by, and we watched the birds in the branches together. And now you are here, and you were confused about what the tree is and how to be with it. Imagine if you had arrived and not found anyone here to talk with. You might have continued thinking that everything you do is all about you. Luckily for you, my friend, I'm here to tell you that when you care for the tree of life, it becomes about so much more than just you." And the merchant sat for a while in the shade, thinking about these ideas that felt new and a little challenging. And as the sun went down, he picked up his bag and he headed out of town, whistling a song that he hadn't thought of in years. On his way, he shared a smile with each person that he met, his heart feeling strangely light and joyful. And the people of the village, they continued to sustain the tree of life, to care for one another, and to share their gifts with grace and gratitude. May it be so with each of us. And now, if the children will come up and they can get our chalice, if we have any children in the sanctuary. I think we had one. Yeah, I see Brooklyn. Okay. And we'll go to class.
don't see Caitlin, so I will speak on her behalf. As a spiritual community whose first response is generosity and one that is known for its good stewardship, we have chosen to live out our compassion by gathering our undesignated offerings and splitting them 50-50 with a local charity that was pre-selected by the consensus of the justice team and approved by the board. For the month of January, our Share the Plate offerings will be shared with 111 Hope Foundation, the 501c3 organization that was created by those that we know as our own, the Salgado family. Last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago now, Caitlin Salgado spoke about this foundation that was created by her and her husband, Emmanuel. These are a few of her words. She wrote, "At 111 Hope Foundation, we believe in the power of hope and the potential for new beginnings. Our mission is to uplift and empower our community, offering a helping hand to those in need. Whether it's providing warm meals and essential support to the unhoused and low-income families, or supplying school materials and mentorship to youth, or offering veterans the means to dress for success for their job interviews, we are dedicated to fostering positive change." And certainly we can all fully support this work that one of our own families is doing in the world. So all of the offerings that are taken up in January that are not designated to fulfill pledges or other fund drives will be shared 50-50 with 111 Hope Foundation. So now, while we enjoy Lily's offertory, I invite those of you here in the sanctuary to please come forward with your generous offerings. It is with deep gratitude for the many gifts offered within our community that our offering will now be given and received. Beautiful, as always. Thank you so much. I know Debbie mentioned you and offered her gratitude that we have you here. And that is something we say not often enough, but thank you. Our joys and sorrows is an element of our Sunday service that has been a tradition here at Monte Vista for many, many years. We have called it by other things, joys and concerns, or I like sharing our shine and our shadow, our smiles and our sighs. We have these joy and concern papers when you come through the door that you can write things on here that you want spoken aloud. I have one here. This is from Pat and Betsy Pettit. It's a concern for their friend Barbara in Ohio, who's undergoing treatment for lung cancer. Thanks, Betsy. We will hold Barbara in our thoughts and in our prayers. Today is also, it's the 1-year anniversary of the mass shooting at the dance club in Monterey Park. So I know that a lot of our community is honoring that in ways that they can. I know that the person that was involved in the capture of the shooter was honored by the president recently. And we just want to hold everyone who was touched by what happened that day in our thoughts and prayers and in our hearts as we go on. And many of you know about me that I'm from upstate New York, central New York, Bill's country. So I say it's a joy. Oh, it's not politics. It's sports. How many Chiefs fans do we have? 1, 2. Okay. Let's just say it's fun to pick our teams and to spar with one another, but I have the mic. Go Bills. They're both great teams, and may the best team win. But let's just say only one of those teams would have shoveled out that stadium. Let me just say that. Yeah, thank you. It's always fun. That's part of the reason we're here, is to have fun. But let's take our meditation time today to create a bit of imagination, some imaginal space together, because everything that exists, even the game of football, was once a dream of its inventors or its creator. So I invite you to hold that acorn and pine cone that you received from our indigenous tree relatives that were right here in our neighborhoods. The coast live oak acorn and the redwood pine cone that actually contains many, many seeds. And imagine yourself as you allow your body to shift and become comfortable and your feet grounded on the floor, maybe imagining roots like the trees, connecting us with Mother Earth. Imagine you're in a deep wood, surrounded by many tall trees, and you find one that interests you, one that you feel a bit curious about, and you go sit beneath its branches. Leaning your back against the strong trunk, you open your heart and communicate with the tree by offering a greeting similar to a bow of respect and maybe saying, "Thank you, dear tree, for inviting me to come and share this moment with you." And now I'll invite you to join with me on a meditation that was written by the children who attend Children's Forest in the UK. It's an organization that has planted over 5,000 trees in 13 different forests across the UK with many groups of children. There is a lovely forest. The sun shines and the moon is lovely. Gold, yellow, and orange leaves sway in the air, and the snails are climbing smoothly up the trees. Animals tread the soft earth, finding lovely, shiny conkers. Trees falling down and clattering. I love my mud heart. In the golden green forest, I stand in a group, singing my very own song, together with roots entwined. And I love the fire. It's warm and bright, and I love the noise of the rustling leaves, calm and safe from harm. We love the sounds and the colors of the woods. Here is a home for all, seeding dreams of future lives, and the buzz of the bees hum with ease, the key to the giant thief. My branches reaching to the sky, my roots dig deep into the ground and hold the world up. I dream of a sunlit day full of emerald green leaves. From the ground to the sky and from the sky to the ground, the dance goes on. The floor is alive with an army of beasts. Wild wind sounds of the rustling leaves and trees dance together in harmony. Here we will gather again in golden green light. We'll have a few moments of shared silence. And I invite you to remain seated as we sing Imagine by John Lennon. Thank you. That sounded good. It's always fun to sing that. I love the line. And no religion, too. And it doesn't get sung in many churches. I don't know what they changed the lyric to be, but yeah. But it's safe here. I'd like to invite Ann Taves up. She'll be giving us our reading for today. And we're grateful that she's not joining us on Zoom. Hello, Ann.
Oh, no, that's okay. When Reverend Maggie asked me to say something about a tree or trees, it was obvious to me what I needed to talk about, which is the coast live oak. And the coast live oak, or as it's also known, the California oak, Latin name Quercus agrifolia, is the backbone of the coastal California woodlands. Its native habitat extends into our inland valley and into the canyons that line our foothills. Its acorns were the staple food of the Chumash up near Santa Barbara and the Tongva around here. Spanish settlers associated the tree with fertile land, and the placement of the Franciscan missions, it turns out, more or less matches the coast live oak's native range. But for me, it's a symbol of home and our connection to this specific place on earth. My last house in Claremont was on Green Street, which is lined with native oaks. Our house in Santa Barbara had a magnificent oak tree in the front courtyard. It had 3 main trunks, and it reached up above the second story of the house. And now our house in Pilgrim Place is across the street from an even more magnificent oak tree in Penner Garden. When we think of the California oak, most of us probably think about the visible tree. But as a symbol of home and our connection to this place, its roots are the key, I think. During its first few years, it turns out it establishes itself by putting down a deep taproot. As a young tree, it's resilient and adaptable. It can be transplanted. But as the tree grows, the taproot is replaced by an extensive lateral root system that spreads out horizontally from the trunk beyond the drip line as much as up to 90 feet. This horizontal root system provides the primary support for the mature tree for the rest of its life. By the time it's established this elaborate root system that literally roots it in place, it's lost the vigor of its youth and is unable to tolerate much change. I was very touched when I read that this was in a piece about the root system on the California Oak Foundation. This is the only tree with an actual foundation dedicated to it. Anyway, we lost the tree in our courtyard in Santa Barbara, probably because it was growing against a large boulder between the driveway and the front sidewalk. It didn't have room to develop a strong enough root system, and under stress, first one of the 3 trunks crashed to the driveway, and then about a month later, the other 2 crashed as well. Our Santa Barbara house didn't feel the same to me after it died, and I took that as a sign that it might be okay to move. When it turned out that we could have a new house that looked out on an even more magnificent, mature coast live oak right across the street, it felt like a sign that this was indeed where we should put down new roots, and maybe not just a taproot, but a strong network of lateral roots that would bind us more and more deeply to this place. Thank you.
There is a Jewish holiday that's celebrated every year about this time that has grown to become an annual Ecological Awareness Day. It's called Tu B'Shavat, and it's translated the 15th of Shavat, as it comes on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Shavat each year. This year, Tu B'Shavat will arrive this Sunday, the 24th, at sundown, and it is celebrated in the Jewish community by the planting of trees. When Tu B'Shavat comes each year, it makes me smile to remember a patient named Deborah, who I met while I was serving as a chaplain in the Syracuse area. Deborah taught me about the holiday as we sat together, and she reminisced about her childhood in Jerusalem, planting trees with her father on the farm. Her life as the child of a tree farmer held great meaning for her and rooted her journey to the passionate life that she lived as an environmentalist and an advocate for the trees. While doing a bit of research, I remembered that Deborah had shared with me that Torah forbids the eating of any of the fruit from your trees until and only after you have given all that the tree bears in their 4th year to the temple priests. So whatever the tree produces in the 5th year and every year that followed was finally for the farmer and their families. But because it is difficult to determine the age or the birthday of your trees, the 15th day of the month of Shevat becomes the birthday for all trees. And it is a celebration that remains to this day. For environmentalists, Tu B'Shavat is seen as a type of a Jewish Earth Day. Or as the Kabbalists teach, it's a day to celebrate that the sparks of the divine are spread into the world through every human's actions on behalf of the earth. But I like to think that Deborah is taking action for the earth, following in her dad's footsteps, and living out her love for the trees. But each of us has our own heartfelt story of the trees in our lives as a child, and maybe still to this day. Some of the trees portrayed in Hollywood aren't really all that warm and fuzzy. We remember Charlie Brown's frosty relationship with the tree that ate all of his kites. And bless his heart, he refuses to give up hope that he will someday manage to get the kite into the sky out of the tree's reach. There were those apple trees in The Wizard of Oz that threw their fruit at Dorothy, Toto, and the Scarecrow after yelling at them for picking their fruit when they were hungry on their journey to the Emerald City. And we can't mention the often misunderstood trees without naming the Ents from The Lord of the Rings. The Ents were wise, strong, sentient creatures who served as protectors of the forest, as archetypal shepherds to the trees. Ents were defined by their advocacy for nature and their despising of industrialization and any forms of anti-environmentalism. The shady side of the trees is an important aspect of the gifts that they bring, and we welcome the stories that they have for us as we reflect on our relationship with them as our relatives and our fellow earthlings. But let's be hesitant to anthropomorphize nature, and especially the trees. Because giving the trees human characteristics or telling the story that they have the ability to eat kites or throw apples might seem like a compliment, but is it? Do we really think that being a human is the hope and the dream of the trees? Let's instead imagine the ways that our lives can be enhanced by a deeper respect for the traits and the qualities that are inherent in the trees that can amplify our understanding of what this life is really about. The spiritual aspects of the lives of the trees bless ours in so many ways, and they overflow with evidence that we could spend a lot more than 1 hour honoring the trees in our lives, and maybe we should. But a simple shift in perspective can open new connections to nature that have much to teach us. Those connections offer resilience and hope and healing. And we all do well to tune in and be grounded and connected to Mother Earth in new ways, like the ways of the trees. So let's imagine and sense that invitation that is always luring us closer. Let's learn to step into a grove of nature's trees like a refreshing shower of love from the spirit of life. And let's meet those elders, pun intended, in a new way. Many of the Unitarian Universalist congregations in our association have voted to change their first principle to include the trees and other sentient beings by covenanting and affirming to promote the inherent worth and dignity of every being rather than person. And one of those most incredible beings is Pando, a quaking aspen in central Utah with 47,000 trunks, each identical genetic markers. Pando, which is Latin for eye spread, is the largest and oldest single entity living on Earth, with an 80,000-year-old root system that covers 106 acres and weighs over 13 million pounds. Has anyone ever been with Pando in Utah? No? Time to go. Let's do a field trip. It's not that far away. Another such being, near and dear to the heart of Californians, is the General Sherman in Sequoia National Park. He is known to be the largest living single-stem tree on Earth. And I have a picture of him. Jaryus, that's not the one. Can you guys hear that? Okay. Hold on. There he is. I love the pictures that Jaryus picks. But this one is one I took, so it means a lot. Standing at his feet, oh, there I go, giving him human characteristics again. Let's shift that to say, being in his presence gave me an experience that reminds me of what Moses may have felt standing before that burning bush. I wanted to take my shoes off because it was holy ground, and it still is. He has stood there for over 2,200 years, and although my time with him was just a blip, it was a blip that has had an everlasting impact on me that cannot be minimized by any measure of time or space. So we wonder, what is that magic, that impact, that shift in life experience that comes to us among the trees? And could it be mutual? Could it be eternal? Could it be life-giving and filled with potential, like the pine cone and the acorn that you hold? I want to thank Maribel Dana. She's unable to be with us right now, but I'm sure she'll be watching the recording. So thank you, Maribel, for running around Pilgrim Place and gathering these redwood cones from the California redwoods that are rooted on the grounds at Pilgrim Place. And I thank George for helping me to gather the Coast Live Oak acorns, these metaphors of magic that just drop to the ground before us like the gifts of the gods that we see them to be, rather than naming them yard waste or blow them into plastic cans by loud, smelly leaf blowers. Instead, we hold them in reverence and in wonder. It's more than mere metaphor that the tallest trees produce the very smallest of seeds. If you have that pine cone in your hand, you may have some of the seeds fall out onto your palm. It's not the pine cone only that's the smallest, but those little teeny seeds, each one of those minute little flea-sized black spots is a redwood tree. The DNA of Earth's tallest, most majestic trees, and every bit of its potentiality is contained within that teeny tiny speck. And you also are holding all that potential in your palm right now. And isn't it a miracle that we can imagine and we can appreciate that you're always holding your own potential and that no matter how small it may seem, it is endless. Like the oak tree that we planted to mark my installation as minister almost 2 years ago now. It's nearly as tall as me, and it's growing beautifully. I don't have a good picture of it to share, but I invite you to visit it in the Shire. Does everyone know the Shire? Just to the east, on the eastern side of our shed in the back. We've also installed 2 benches there in honor of the Randalls and their gifts to the congregation over the years that Amy was serving as our DLRE. We imagine potentially sitting on the benches under the branches of our massive, mighty oak tree to come one day, someday, soon. Let's also be certain to hold and remember one more very special tree, one that we all held hope for and prayed for last summer, the banyan tree in Lahaina, Maui. And despite being engulfed by flames, in nearly dying in the wildfires last August that have forever changed Hawaii, that 150-year-old banyan, which is the largest in the United States, is now beginning to grow again. It has become a sign of new beginnings for all of the people of Lahaina and all of us as well. So as we close, we honor her and all of the trees with this poem by Rabindranath Tagore, and it's titled The Banyan Tree. Oh, you shaggy-headed banyan tree, standing on the bank of the pond, have you forgotten the little child, like the birds that have nested in your branches and left you? Do you not remember how he sat at the window and wondered at the tangle of your roots and plunged underground? The women would come to fill their jars in the pond, and your huge black shadow would wiggle on the water like sleep struggling to wake up. Sunlight dances on the ripples like restless tiny shuttles weaving golden tapestry. 2 ducks swam by the weedy margin above their shadows, and the child would sit still and think. He longed to be the wind and blow through your resting branches, to be your shadow and lengthen with the day on the water, to be a bird and to perch on your topmost twig, and to float like those ducks among the weeds and the shadows. Blessed be. Let's stand together as we're comfortable, and let's sing our sending song. It's in our gray hymnal, number 121, We'll Build a Land. Great, thank you. Let's recite together our unison benediction. You'll find it in your order of service, but we have it right there. Let us go forth into the world, remembering these words of Martin Luther. Even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. And so may it be with us. Lily?